everybody, welcome back to another video on the West Ham Way YouTube channel. Today we are talking about Pablo Fornal. Now, I think a lot of people have got prematurely excited about the fact that West Ham have supposedly activated a clause in his contract which would see Pablo Fornal's contract extended by a further year. I believe his contract ends at the end of this season, and I think no one's keen for him to leave. No one wants him to leave on a free. West Ham aren't keen for him to leave on a free either. However, we may be losing him still in January. So what we believe is going to happen is that once his contract extension is finalised, because I'm not entirely sure if it has been. I haven't really seen anything on the official West Ham page. Obviously, there's a lot of talk. X has put out an update on it. You've got to go read that if you've got the Patreon. But the update basically says that he has a 1-year extension that we've activated, and that's pretty well reported now at this stage. And I think a lot of people assumed that was because, we wanted to give him another year, see what he can do. Try and get him a place in the side. But ultimately, I think he will still leave in January. We know that we need to raise some funds in January. And to be honest, I think we're definitely moving away from the whole idea of wingers. I mean, I watched the Palace game on Sunday, and it seems like the system we're going for now is almost like you've got Bowen kind of central. Bowen kind of central. And you've got Kudus on the right. But then Kudus will kind of come into the middle a little bit more because he's waiting for Soufal's overlapping run, or sometimes they go in a little pivot together. But essentially, if you look at the makeup of our team, you've got Bowen right here at the top, you've got Kudus right here, and I've run out of hands, but then you've got Soufal right there. This spot here, the left wing spot, is not really occupied. So even though a lot of people speculate that sort of Paqueta's playing left wing, or what have you, when it actually plays out in the field, you've more got a situation where Alvarez is sitting there in front of the defenders. You've got Emerson pushing up slightly in line with Paqueta. Then you've got Ward-Prowse slightly more forward. And then you've got Souček about as far forward as you can get, sometimes coming into the sort of front line of the attack. But when I watched this on Sunday, it was pretty much a fairly straightforward line of Soufal, Kudus, and Bowen. So this left wing spot is kind of missing for West Ham at the moment. I know we sort of play a right winger and a right winger / striker in Bowen at centre forward, but for the most part, we're sort of moving away from the traditional left wingers that we've used. But in the past, it would work into a sense of you would loop the ball into Antonio, he would chest it down. You then play it maybe into the midfield, or the fullback, which is overlapping. The fullback or the midfielder would then play it down the wings to your Benrahma or your Bowen. And if it's on the left-hand side, Benrahma would do a bit of interplay with Emerson or Cresswell to form either a deep cross from Cresswell coming back, or Benrahma would just try and drive and get forward. We didn't try and overlap too much on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, it's a bit different. You'd have Soufal basically occupying that right winger spot where Bowen would be, because he would come inside, and then you would sometimes have Soufal make that darting overlapping run, but for the most part he didn't sit deep. He would just make that run. If he didn't get it, he didn't get it. So we tried. We've obviously a team that likes to play it out wide, and wide players are definitely an asset for us, but we're moving away from that now. Fornals cannot fit the Paqueta role at left wing. I mean, he came on, he's yet to start this season. Benrahma's definitely been picked over him, and now, of course, we're sort of moving to the Paqueta hybrid role. And he came on, he didn't really do much. And I think if you're going to have a bench player, and you're not, because Fornals I don't think starts in this side, it'd be very difficult to get Ward-Prowse in this, Fornal in this side, when you've got Ward-Prowse, Souček, Alvarez, Paqueta all in the midfield. And then if you have to sacrifice one of those midfielders for a left wing spot, it doesn't really fit what we're trying to do. You've also got Benrahma, who, like I say, is ahead of him. Cornet as well, who could do some bits, and Mubama as well, who isn't a traditional winger but can occupy that left wing spot at times. So it's very difficult for him to get in the side. And I think when you want to change a game, Fornals is not that player. Maybe if we were 2-0 up, 3-0 up, you think, okay, well, he's going to work hard. He's going to do what we need to do. He's going to put that tackle in. He's going to be a player that I know I can rely on. But at the same time, I think, Souček does that job. Well, to be fair, Souček doesn't do that job, but, he's strong and physical. I think Ward-Prowse can do that job. I think Alvarez does that job already, and I think Paqueta does that job. So, if we want to raise some funds, because we're going to have to sacrifice some fringe players if we want to sign anyone in the summer, in January, sorry. We don't have enough money to compete. We're looking at a new fullback. It could be Ian Matson. It could be Wan-Bissaka. It could be a number of different players. We're also looking at a new striker. Dominic Solanke would cost a lot of money. Armando Broja is another one we've been looking at. There's the guy from PSG as well that we keep getting linked with. A TK, I think, Hugo TK. So look, I mean, it's obvious that we want to spend in January, and Moyes feels like he needs some more players. But when you've got Fornals, Benrahma, Cornet, all on the left-hand side, you probably have to get rid of one or two of those, especially where at the moment, all three of them are not getting any game time whatsoever. So I think it's smart from West Ham to activate that contract. Obviously, it shows that maybe Fornals is okay technically. I mean, I know it's a clause in his contract, but it's not like he's turning around and say, well, I'm refusing to play, I need to leave. You extended my contract, I'm not going to play for you guys. From what I've heard, there's not been any backlash from the contract extension or anything like that. So I'm pretty certain that if Fornals could come back and compete for his spot in the side, I don't think he'd be too upset about it. I think he would actually like it. But he's had some interest from Saudi clubs, and also from, I think, Villarreal and some other Spanish clubs. But the rumoured fee, supposedly, that we would get for him is between 8 and 14 million, which is quite cheap, to be fair. When you consider how much we bought him for, and when you consider what he can do, I do think it is quite cheap. I think he should definitely be between the 15 and 20 million mark, especially when you see the prices that these players are going for these days. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe that Fornals and Benrahma, to be fair, should be going for at least 15 to 25 sort of million. I don't see why that would be too much. I think 15 million minimum. Danny Ings we signed for about 8 million, 11 million. There's no way you're telling me Pablo Fornals, who is not an old player, like he's still got some potential. I think if he played for another club or even played at our club in a different system, he'd do quite well. But essentially what this video is all about is, I think people are jumping the gun and assuming that because we've extended Fornals' contract, he's going to get back in the side and he's going to be a part of Moyes' plans. But unfortunately, it's the flip side. I believe that his contract has been extended, and that is because we want to recoup more money in January to sell him. Because if we didn't extend his contract and he was going out in the summer, people would be less inclined to sign him. They could probably even get him on a pre-contract. So it's very smart from West Ham, and I think it's a good move for us. But unfortunately, you Fornals lovers out there will be disappointed to know that I'm pretty sure, 95% certain, that Fornals, unfortunately, will be leaving in the transfer window. And to be honest, I do think it's for the best. I love him as a player and as a person, but I think he does have to leave for himself. I think we have to leave to recoup a bit of money. And yeah, it looks certain that he'll be leaving. Whether he leaves or Benrahma leaves, whether it be both of them, I'm not sure. But of course, as always, if we have any updates, you'll be the first to know.